guys. I believe you can hear me. Can hear me. How was your weekend? Sure, you had a great day. I welcome you all to tonight's session. Please, if you have any pair you want us to analyze together, drop it in the comment section. If you can hear me, if I'm audible, please, I'd like to know. Drop your comments if you can hear me. Please switch to the new link. Please use the new link. Session has commenced there. Please use the new link. Okay. So I believe you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, if I'm audible, I would like to know. If you can hear me clearly, please drop your comments. How prepared are you for the new week? How prepared are you? Have you done your homework? Have you done your homework for the week? What pairs are you considering trading? I've always told you guys that it's very important that you have a trading plan for the week. It is not when the market opens you start looking for setup. You should have your trading plan for the week. Okay, have your trading plan for the week. You should know your biases on the different instruments you'll be trading for the week. When the market open, it is time for execution, not for analysis. It's very important. If you don't have a plan, you've planned to fail. Okay, if you don't have a plan, you've planned to fail. You need to plan your week. You need to plan your day. It's very important. Very important. Okay, if there's any pair you want us to analyze together, please drop it in the comment space. Drop it in the comment space. Drop it in the comment space. So the first pair we'll be looking at is the GBP USD. Let's start with GBP USD. What do we have on GBP USD? Okay, so as you know, we always start with the weekly time frame. We need to know the trend for the week, and we'll ensure that every trade we are executing on the lower time frame aligns with the weekly trend. That's the first thing I do after the close of the market or before the open of the market. I look at the weekly time frame to know which direction price would go for that week, to know the trend for the week. So let's go to weekly. So you can see for the past few weeks, GBP USD has been in a range. Price has been consolidating for weeks on GU. Okay, it's been consolidating. So where is price heading to, up or down? Now we need to identify the high of the range, which is this, and also the low of the range. Okay, so price is in this range now. Okay, so what we should be looking out for is a breakout from that range. It's a breakout from that range. Now you would see last week, the previous week, you can see we had a candlestick formation. This is an hammer, and this hammer candlestick formed at a previous support level, which indicates that there's a possibility that price would go up. This indicates change in trend, okay, from bearish to bullish. And you can see last week candle closed as a spinning bottom. It closed as a spinning bottom, which indicates that we have more traders who are interested in buying GBP USD. Okay, that's what it indicates. Okay, so because you would see last week candle also tested this previous support, and there was a strong rejection from that support. You can see, okay, this is telling us that there is more demand than supply. Okay, so let's go down to the daily time frame. What do we have on the daily time frame? First, let's apply, before we switch to the daily time frame, let's apply our vertical line on last week candle. Okay, so let's go down to daily. What do we have on the daily? As you can see on the daily time frame, please pay attention here. On the daily time frame, you can see several candles have tested this support level. There's been a lot of rejection from that level. Now, before demand started increasing, that is before the formation of this candle or after the formation of this candle, you can see we had a bearish candlestick. Can you see that? We had a bearish candlestick that formed before the formation of this bullish candlestick. And I want you to note something. You would notice that the buyers have been trying to close price above the high of that candle, which they did. Yeah, they actually closed price above that level, but there has been a strong rejection from that level. Can you see it? This is the only candlestick that closed above the high of this previous bearish candlestick. This is the only candle that has closed above it, and after it closed above it, you can see how the next candlestick formed. It formed as a spinning top. Then the next candlestick closed as an engulfing candle. So there has been a lot of rejection from this resistance zone. Can you see that? There has been a lot of rejection from this resistance zone. Now, if you go back, can you see? If you go back here, you will see that this level was a support in the past. You can see this level was a support in the past. It was a support at this point, support at this point, support at this point, support at this point. You can see. So price hits that support level, which has become a resistance, and there has been a strong rejection from that uh, zone. You can see that. So what am I looking at for this week? It's either price breaks out from this resistance or breaks out from this support. If a 4-hour candle closes above this resistance zone, I would consider buying. I would consider buying GBP USD. I would consider buying GBP USD, and if it breaks below this support, I might consider selling GBP USD. That is my take on GBP USD. I hope you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I believe you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, please drop a comment if you can hear me. Drop a comment if you can hear me. Believe you guys can hear me. Okay, so that's my take on GBP USD. Like I said, price is in a range. So we either trade breakout from the resistance or breakout from the support. GBP USD hasn't given us a clear direction for the past few weeks. Okay, so if you are considering buying, that's my own opinion. That's what I'll be looking at for this week. If a 4-hour candle closes above this level, I want to buy, and if a 4-hour closes below this support, I want to sell. And if I'm selling below this support, my stop loss will be around this zone. And if I'm buying above this zone, my stop loss will be at this support area. Okay, so that is my take on GBP USD. Let's switch. Let's just see what we have on 4-hour. You can see on 4-hour also. You can see before the formation of this several bullish pattern, before the formation of this several bullish reversal pattern, we had a bearish candlestick that formed, and as you can see, when price got to that level, there was a rejection from that level. Can you see that the high of that candle? You can see immediately price hits the high of that candle, there was a strong rejection from that high. You can see it. You can see it. So for us to buy, like I said, we need to wait for price to close above this resistance, and for us to sell, we need to wait for price to close below this support. That is my take. That is my take on GBP USD. Let's move to the next page. If you have any question, just drop it in the comment section. Let's move to the next page. Australian dollar USD. What are my expectations on Australian dollar USD? Let's start with the weekly time frame. Okay, let's start with the weekly time frame. So you can see the pattern we have on Australian dollar USD is similar to what we have on GBP USD, and that's because both pairs are positively correlated. Okay, 60 to 70% of the time, both pairs move in the same direction if GU is bullish, there's a high probability that Australian dollar USD would be bullish because USD is the counter currency or quote currency on both pairs. Okay, so as you can see, the pattern we have here is similar to what we have on GBP USD. Now, are you what should we take notice of on this chart? Okay, you can see the pattern we have on the weekly time frame is a bullish reversal pattern, right? It's a bullish reversal pattern. Okay, it's a bullish reversal pattern. So going by the pattern we have on the weekly, we should expect a bullish move on Australian dollar USD. Do you get it? We should expect a bullish move on Australian dollar USD. We would only consider selling Australian dollar USD if the support is broken or a major news for USD, a major news was released or is released for USD. That is when we'll consider selling Australian dollar USD. If a major news is released for USD and the news favors the United States dollar, then we can consider selling Australian dollar USD if a support is broken. I think this week we have several major news that will be released from the United States. Okay, but technically, Australian dollar USD is bullish, going by the pattern, the candlestick pattern on the weekly time frame. You would also notice that at this point you can see, we had a resistance here which became a support. Can you see this? We had a resistance here, right? Which became a support. Can you see this? And price had find it difficult to break that level. You can see that. Find price, sorry. Price has had a difficult time breaking out from that support, resistance stone support, you can see. So if you are considering selling, let's identify the most recent supports. Let's go down to, okay, so this is the support. This is the support level. Okay, let's go to daily. So on daily, we had a support here on daily. So this support zone should be broken before you consider selling. Okay, that support should be broken before you consider selling. So if you are buying, your first target should be at this previous high, because there are a lot of stop losses at that level. There are a lot of buy stop orders at that level, so they might want to push price up to clear liquidity at that levels. Okay, so if you are buying, this should be your first target. Now, another thing I want you to take notice of on the daily time frame, pay attention. What you should also take notice of on the daily time frame is that you can see price tested, there was a resistance level here. You can see, I believe you can see that resistance level. There was a resistance level. It was a resistance at this point. Price came down, went back up to that resistance level, and there was a strong rejection from that resistance. And you can see last Friday candle also tested that resistance, and there has been a rejection from that level. Can you see that? This is a spinning top indicating change in trend from bullish to bearish. And this could play out. This could play out. We could see price drop. Okay, we could see price drop because this is a spinning top that formed at a previous resistance level. So if you want to buy, like I said, if we go by the pattern we have on the weekly time frame, we would be looking out for buy setup, buy opportunity on Australian dollar USD. But if you look at the daily, we have a resistance here. Okay, we have a resistance here. So for us to buy, to ensure that the daily align with the weekly pattern, we need to wait for this resistance to be broken. That is when the daily will align with the weekly time frame, and that will be the right time to consider buying Australian dollar USD. So you need to wait for a bullish candle to close above this level. If a 4-hour candle closes above that level, we could risk buying Australian dollar USD. Okay, let's switch to 4-hour time frame. So what do we have on 4-hour after the formation of this spinning top on daily time frame? What pattern do we have on on 4 hour. Let's go to 4 hour. So you can see the pattern we have on 4 hour. So if we go by daily and 4 hour time frame, the pattern we have is a bearish pattern. If we go by the daily and 4 hour time frame, the pattern we have is what? Is a bearish pattern. So the formation on daily and 4 hour is likely going to play out before the weekly pattern will play out. Okay, so it is likely the daily and 4 hour pattern would play out before the weekly pattern will play out. Okay, so like I said, if you want to buy, wait for resistance. This resistance, you can see it. You can see it clearly on 4 hour. This resistance, if a 4 hour candle closes above this resistance, you want to buy. You want to buy. Okay, so that's my take on Australian dollar USD. Buy long term, going by the weekly, is buy, but short term we could see price drop to a fair value gap. So if you want to buy, you could wait. Two things you should look out for if you are considering buying. We could apply Fibonacci. Apply your Fibonacci. This is the recent swing low to the swing high. Okay, so price is currently at premium. Wait for price to pull back to discount, and at discount you should also identify a fair value gap. We had a fair value gap, a very little fair value gap here, which is at a discount zone. So it is likely price will pull back to this zone, this fair value gap. That will be the best price to consider buying. Okay, or you wait for price to break above the high, this resistance, before you buy. That's my take. Or wait for price to close above the high of this shooting star, before you buy. So it's either price pulls back here for you to buy, or price breaks out from the high of this shooting star. That is the best time to consider buying Australian dollar USD. And if you want to sell, wait for this support to be broken. That is my take on Australian dollar USD. I hope that is clear. Jeremiah, I can see you. Mr. Akinwumi, I can see you. Dabubu, I can see you. Mr. Collins, I can see you. Okay. So I hope that is clear. That's my take on Australian dollar USD. I hope that is clear. Can we move to the next pair? Can we move to the next pair? If there's any instrument you want us to analyze together, drop it in the comments, in the comment space. Can we move to the next pair? Okay, let's move to the next pair. Euro USD, positively correlated with GU and AU. Okay, so what are my expectations on Euro USD? Let's start with the weekly. You can see the pattern we have on Euro USD is also similar to what we have on Australian dollar USD and GBP USD, right? And you can see price is currently sitting on a support level, or you could call it a demand zone. You can see price is currently sitting at that demand zone, and you can see the candlesticks that are formed at that demand zone. Okay, this is AMA, bullish AMA and bearish AMA. That tells us that there's a high probability for price to go up. There's a high probability for Euro USD to go bullish this week. Okay, that is it on the weekly time frame. So let's switch to the daily time frame. The daily time frame. What do we have on the daily? So you can see on the daily, you can see this is a resistance on the daily. Okay, so I would suggest if you want to buy Euro USD, wait for that resistance to be broken. If 4-hour candle closes above that resistance, then you could consider buying Euro USD. You can see what played out here. I think this bearish move here was to clear liquidity at this previous low. I think that was what played out last week, Wednesday, Thursday. This bearish move, I think, was to clear liquidity at this previous low, and that they have achieved. So there's a high probability that Euro USD would be bullish this week. And if you are buying above this zone, your take profit should be the next area of liquidity, which will be this. Okay, that should be your first TP, and this should be your second TP on Euro USD. You should only consider selling if this support demand zone is broken. That is when you should consider selling. So if you are selling below the demand zone or below the support zone, your stop loss should be at the resistance zone. And if you are buying above the resistance zone, your stop loss should be at the support zone or a few pips below the support zone. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. So my bias for Euro USD technically is bullish. Technically, okay, it is bullish. GBP USD bullish, Euro USD bullish, Australian dollar USD bullish. Okay, the only thing that will make these pairs go bearish would be fundamentals. Technically, they are bullish. Okay, so let's go to which other pair? Let's look at gold. Okay, gold. I know most of you trade gold. Okay, so let's start with the weekly. So you can see what we have on the weekly. Last week candle closed as an hammer, a bearish hammer. This tells me that there is a high probability that gold will be bullish this week. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, the pattern on the weekly time frame gives us an idea of where price is heading to. Okay, so we can see this is an hammer. Another thing you need to consider or you need to look out for on the weekly time frame is this. The low of this bullish candle. If you attended previous weekly session that we had, I've pointed out the low of this bullish candle. The low of this bullish candle. You can see price has tested the low of this bullish candle. If a candlestick had closed below this bullish candle, then we could conclude that the trend has changed from bullish to bearish. But the bears have been finding it difficult to close below the low of this bullish candle. That tells me that the bulls are still in control. That tells me that the bulls are still in control. And if the bulls are in control, then I should look for a buy opportunity on gold. But if a bearish candlestick closes below this low, then my bias will change from bullish to bearish. So at the moment on gold is still bullish with the pattern we have on gold. Gold is still bullish. You can see this was a previous support. This was a previous support. You can see this was a previous resistance, turn support. You can see, and price has tested that level several times. So I think this week gold will be bullish. So after the formation of this pattern on the weekly, what do? We go down to daily. Now, what are we looking out for on the daily time frame? We want to ensure that the pattern on the daily time frame is also a bullish pattern. Okay, that's what we want to go look out for on the daily time frame. We want to ensure that the pattern is what is a bullish reversal pattern. So let's go down to daily. So you can see the pattern we have on the daily. This is a bullish reversal pattern. The bullish move commenced after the formation of this hammer. Can you see it? This would have been the best price to buy gold after the formation of this hammer. That would have been the best entry. This would have been the best entry after the close of that hammer. That would have been the best entry for gold. Okay, so I would advise that you wait for price to pull back. If you want to buy, wait for price to pull back. Okay, so let's go down to 4 hour. I believe a fair value gap was created on 4 hour time frame or 1 hour time frame. Okay, so we need to identify those fair value gap on 4 hour, 1 hour time frame. Then also we can go down to lower time frame like 15 minutes to identify the structure on those time frame. We want to ensure that there's a shift in market structure on 1 hour time frame or 15 minutes time frame. Okay, so let's go down to 4 hour. Do we have a fair value gap here? Is there a fair value gap? Can you identify a fair value gap on this time frame? If you cannot identify a fair value gap, if you can't identify a fair value gap, just pick your Fibonacci tool. Okay, take it from the swing low, swing high, wait for price to pull back to premium, sorry, to discounts, wait for price to pull back to discounts. Okay, so I won't be buying gold at the current market price because the risk is too high. Because if I'm buying gold from the current market price, my stop loss will be probably at this place or this place. That's where my stop loss will be. Okay, and that risk is too high. I don't risk more than 50 pips on gold, 50 pips on gold. On currency pairs, my risk is between 30 to 40 pips. And this one, if I decide to buy at the current market price, my risk, if I set my stop loss here, that will be about close to 200 pips, more than 200 pips. That risk is too high. Okay, so I need to see price pull back to a discount zone. Price should pull back to a discount level before I buy. Okay, so here's the fair value gap on this time frame. We have a very small fair value gap here. You can see it. You can see it. Can you see this fair value gap? Very small fair value gap. And you can see last week, you can see last week, this candlestick filled that gap. Price pulled back, filled that gap, and you can see there was a strong rejection from that um, gap. So it is likely this price would also come test this fair value gap before it continue with its bullish move. So I would not advise that you jump in and start buying gold at the current market price. The risk is too high. Patiently wait for price to pull back. If price does not pull back, let it go. Let it go. Wait for the next opportunity. Okay. So it's either price pulls back to fill that fair value gap for me to buy gold, or I'll just let it go. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. Okay, we'll look at GBP/USD. Okay, Collins, in a few minutes we'll look at GBP/USD and Euro/USD. Okay, so let's start with okay, let's go down to, I said we should check 1 hour 15 minutes. Let's see the structure on 1 hour. Okay, before we switch to other. Okay, what structure do we have here? 1 hour. There's a break of structure here. You can see on 1 hour was a break of structure. You can see what played out here. After break of structure, as you know, price will pull back to fair value gap. That on 1 hour time frame. Can you see it? There was a break of structure here. Price went up, had to come back, fill the fair value gap before changing direction to the upside. I hope you can see that. Let's just check 15 minutes. Let's see on 15 minutes. You can see on 15 minutes also there was a break of structure. You can see there was a break of structure which created a fair value gap on 4 hour time frame, and price had to pull back to fill that fair value gap before it continued with its bullish move. Okay, so let's look at USD card. USD card is negatively correlated with GBP USD. So if we are considering buying GBP USD, then we should consider selling USD card. So let's start with the weekly. What pattern, what candlestick, what's the pattern that formed on the weekly time frame? So you can see what formed on the weekly time frame. Shooting star. This is a shooting star on the weekly time frame. USD card. A shooting star candle formed on the weekly time frame, and you would also notice that it formed at a previous resistance level, right? You can see price tested that resistance level, and there was a strong rejection from that level. That tells us that there's a high probability that USD card will be bearish this week. We would only go bullish if this resistance is broken. That is when our buyers will change from bearish to bullish. But at the moment, with what we have here, this is a strong bearish reversal pattern, strong rejection from this previous resistance level. Okay, so after identifying the pattern on the weekly, we want to go down to daily. And on the daily, we want to ensure that the pattern we have on the daily also is a bearish reversal pattern. That's what we want to identify on the daily time frame. Okay, the daily time frame must align with the weekly time frame. So we're going there to identify a bearish reversal pattern. Let's go down to daily. So what do we have on the daily? So you can see here on the daily, we have, this is a bearish reversal pattern. This is a bearish reversal pattern. Okay. Now, another thing I want you to take notice of here on this daily time frame, this bullish move, this bullish move, okay, this bullish move, I think, was to clear liquidity at this previous high. Okay, I think was to clear liquidity at this previous high, and that they have achieved, and there's a high possibility for price to keep dropping. Okay, so another thing I want you to take notice of is that when price got to the low of this previous bullish candlestick, okay, it has not even hit that level, you can see. So for us to sell, we want to ensure that a candlestick closes below the low of this bullish candle. That will be the right time to sell. That will be the right time to sell. Okay, that will be the right time to sell. You have to wait. As you can see, a support. Okay, you can see that last Friday candle, after the close of last Friday candle, a support was formed here. You can see. So ensure that that support is broken. Ensure that that support is broken before you sell. Okay, you have to wait for a candle to close below this demand zone or support zone before you sell. I hope that is clear. You should only consider buying if this resistance is broken. Okay, you should only consider buying if this resistance is broken. If that resistance is not broken, USD card is still bearish. USD card is still what? Is still bearish. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. Okay, so USD card this week is bearish. It is bearish. Let's go down to let's see the structure we have on, let's see, 4 hour. Okay, so it's still bearish on 4 hour also. Let's go down to, it's still bearish. Okay, bearish. Let's go down to um 1 hour. Here there was a break of structure. This is a break of structure. Okay, this is a break of structure. So we should wait for price to pull back. Okay, you can see a fair value gap was created here. You can see that a fair value gap was created here. So it's likely price will pull back, okay, to this fair value gap before it continues with its bearish move. So that should be our expectation this week. It's either price pulls back to fill this fair value gap or this support is broken. That is when you should consider selling USD card, okay? Because it's possible price will not pull back. Everything is probability in trading, okay? Nothing is guaranteed, okay? So it's likely price will pull back, but if it doesn't pull back to this level, if it breaks out from this support zone, you might want to consider selling USD card. Okay, so my bias on USD card this week is bearish. It is bearish. My bias for USD card is bearish. Okay, USD ZAR. I don't trade USD ZAR, Mr. Sam. I don't think I have USD ZAR on my list. Okay, but I'll try check it out. Okay, Mr. Samuel, I'll try check it out. USD ZAR. I always advise that if you're an experienced trader or you're new to trading, focus on the major currency pair. Okay, focus on the major currency pairs. USD ZAR is an exotic pair, right? And the spread on those pairs are very high. The spread are very high, and they are not as volatile as the major currency pairs. Okay, they are not as volatile as the major currency pairs. You should focus more on volatile pairs. Okay. I hope that is clear on USD card. I hope that is clear on USD card. Any question? Any question? Drop it in the comment section. Drop it. Okay. I'm seeing all your comments. Okay. We'll look at on Euro Aussie and GBP Aussie next. Okay. Euro Aussie, GBP Aussie. Okay. Let's start with the weekly time frame. So you can see what we have on Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie, this is a bearish setup. You can see it, it's obvious. The pattern we have on the weekly is bearish, right? Because we had a resistance here. You can see a resistance. You can see this was a resistance. And that resistance formed, I think, 2 weeks ago. You can see it. That resistance formed 2 weeks ago. And last week candle tested that resistance. The bullish move we saw last week, I think, was to clear liquidity at this previous high. Last week, this, you can see, what they did last week before going bearish was to clear liquidity at this previous high. So with the pattern we have on the weekly time frame on Euro Aussie, this is a bearish pattern. This is a bearish pattern. So I would be looking for a sell opportunity on Euro Aussie this week. Okay, so let's switch to daily. What are we going to identify on the daily? We want to ensure that the pattern on the daily aligns with the pattern on the weekly. Okay, the weekly and the daily must give us the same direction. Okay, so let's go down to daily. What pattern do we have on the daily? So you can see the pattern we have on the daily is bearish also, because you can see a resistance has been formed on the daily. You can see also, you can see the market closed below the low of this. You can see the market closed below the low of this bullish candle. This tells me that the bears have overpowered the bulls. This strong bullish candle, you can see the last candle, last Friday candle, closed below the low of this bullish candle. So this tells me that supply has increased. This tells me that supply has exceeded demand. The fact that the bears were able to close the price below the low of this bullish candle, that tells me that supply has exceeded demand. And when supply exceeds demand, what happens to price? Price is expected to go bearish. Price is expected to drop. Okay, so my bias on Euro Australian dollar USD is bearish. Now, would it be right, or would it be appropriate for us to start selling from the current market price? I want us to switch down to 4-hour. If a fair value gap was created on 4-hour time frame, then we should expect price to pull back to fill that fair value gap before we sell. Okay, because on 4-hour time frame, as you can see on 4-hour, this would have been the best entry on 4-hour, right? After this double top was formed, after this double top, we had hanging man indicating change in trend, and immediately this next candle closed below the low of this bullish candle. That would have been the best time. You can see that immediately this candlestick closed below the low of this bullish candle. That would have been the right time to execute a sell on Euro Aussie. Now look at where price is trading. Look at the current market price now. It is about 100 pips from where you ought to have entered the trade, right? 100 pips. If you had entered at this point, you would have made over 100 pips. You can see that. So it will not be right, it will be wise to sell at this price. So you have to wait for price to pull back. There's a fair value gap here. There's a fair value gap here. So you want to wait for price to pull back to this zone, to a premium zone before you sell. You could just pick up your Fibonacci 2, take it from the swing high, take it from the swing high to swing low. Wait for price to pull back to what? Wait for price to pull back to premium. Anything above level 50 is premium. Okay? But you want to see price push up to, let's say, 65% or 72%. Okay? Those are the areas you should look for sell setup, sell pattern. I hope that is clear. So that is it. As you can see, if you're working with the previous range, which is this, if you were to work with this previous range, you would see that price is at, you can see, if you work with this previous range, you can see price is at where? Discount. Price is at discount. So we want to see price pull back to premium before we sell. You cannot be buying at discount. Sorry, you cannot sell at discount. Can you see that price is at discount now? And when price is at discount, you should look for buy. When price is at premium, you look for sell. So selling, or sorry, selling at discount is at a very high risk. Is at a high risk because there's a high probability that price will pull back to premium before it continues with its bearish move. So you cannot sell at the current market price. Wait for price to pull back to this zone before you sell Euro Aussie. And you should know that Euro Aussie is negatively correlated with Australian dollar USD. Euro Aussie is negatively correlated with Australian dollar USD. So if Euro Aussie is bullish, Australian dollar USD would be bearish. Please note that. Note that both pairs are negatively correlated. 70 to 80% of the time, if Euro Aussie is buying, Australian dollar USD would be bearish. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So that's my take on Euro Aussie. I will be considering selling Euro Aussie this week. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. Okay, so that's my take on Euro Aussie. That's my take on Euro Aussie. So let me see if I have, let me add USD South African Rand. Let me add it to my list. Okay, and that will be the last instrument we'll be looking at this week. Let me add it to my list. South African USD USD I don't trade it, but let's look at it. Okay, so just by looking at the 4-hour time frame, we can tell that it is bearish. Okay, this is a bearish setup on USD ZAR. Okay, this is a bearish setup, but let's start with the weekly. Okay, so you can see our last week candle closed. Looks like an engulfing pattern, but not a valid one. And you can see price has tested this resistance level several times. You can see that we had a resistance level here. So this is a bearish setup, and you can see the pattern that formed here. This is a spinning top, okay, and this is a spinning top, okay. So this is a bearish pattern on weekly time frame. You also notice that a fair value gap was created on the weekly time frame. You can see this fair value gap, and I think that fair value gap has been filled. Can you see that fair value gap? It has been filled. Okay, it has been filled. Also, if we apply Fibonacci 2 from this swing high, if we apply Fibonacci 2 from this swing high to this swing low, you can see that price has already pulled back to a premium level. You can see price pulled back to premium level. So this is a bearish setup on what's it called, on USD ZAR. Price should pull back to discounts. So let's price. This is likely going to be the first target on South African Rand. This will be the next target because there are a lot of sell stop orders, right? Yeah, there are a lot of sell stop orders at this level, right? Yeah, I think, yeah, sell stop orders. So this will be the first area of liquidity that needs to be cleared. Then the next area of liquidity will be this. So if you are selling, your first target should be this. Your second target should be this. Your stop loss should be maybe the high of these candles. That's where you should set your stop loss. Anything that makes price breaks this high, anything that makes a candle closes above this high, then you should know that your bias has become invalidated, has been invalidated. So you need to exit your trade. Take that loss, okay? Always set stop loss. Always set stop loss. If you're trading Forex without stop loss, if you're executing trade without knowing the risk involved in the trade, you are gambling. You are gambling, okay? Ensure that you set your stop loss. You must know the risk before you execute the trade. If you don't know the risk before executing the trade, then you don't know what you're doing. Then you shouldn't execute the trade because there's a high probability that you will lose that trade. That trade will go against you. I always define my risk before executing a trade. Know the risk before you execute the trade. Very important. The reason most traders lose money is because they don't know how to manage risk. Most of them don't use stop loss. Okay, some who apply stop loss, most times they adjust their stop loss when the market is going against them, and before you know it, their account is gone. Always use stop loss. Always use stop loss, please. Okay, so that's my take on USD ZAR. Let's just see what we have on daily. Okay, as you can see on daily also, this is a bearish reversal pattern. Okay, this is a bearish reversal pattern on daily. USD ZAR is bearish. It is bearish. Let's go down to 4 hour. Okay, 4 hour also is bearish, but this would have been the best time to sell. This would have been the best price to sell. After the close of this candle engulfed this candle, and this candle looks like an angry man, though not a valid angry man. So we should have entered sell. Okay, from this point, we should have entered sell. Okay, and even if we had missed this opportunity after this pullback, this would have been an opportunity to sell after the formation of this shooting star and this bearish candlestick that engulfed this bullish. So that's where we should have entered, and you can see price is currently far from that level, so we should wait for price to pull back. Okay, wait for pullback before you sell. Wait for pullback. Okay, wait for pullback. Wait for pullback. Okay, we have fair value gap here was created, so you might want to patiently wait for price to pull back to this zone before you sell USD ZAR. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. So that will be all for today's session. Okay, I hope you got value from the session. If you got value from the session, ensure that you like this stream and also share the link with your friends. If this is your first time participating in the weekly market outlook session, ensure you subscribe to the channel so that you can get updates from notification from YouTube anytime I come online and drop a video on this channel. Okay, our next session will be on Tuesday by 10 a.m. The next session will be on Tuesday 10 a.m., Wednesday 10 a.m., and Thursday 10 a.m. I look forward to having you guys in that live session. Okay, I wish you guys a profitable trading week. Please ensure that you manage risk properly this week. Ensure that you execute your trading plan. Okay, trade your plan. Trade your plan. If you trade your plan, you will definitely succeed in trading. Stick to your trading plan, please. I'll see you on Tuesday. Do have a wonderful night.